everybody, and welcome to Banter Wars 1.5, the midpoint between Banter Wars Series 1 and Series 2. These are what we might consider friendly battles, although they won't be entirely friendly. In fact, they won't be friendly at all. They will be quite vicious, quite malicious, and quite delicious. We have some robots from Series 1 and some robots from the upcoming Series 2, and they shall be battling it out in a variety of competitions. Today's competitions, we have King of the Hill, the Foreigners Challenge, Scrap Iron, and the Grudge match. The special Grudge match today being between Tetra 10 and Panzer Inversion. It's been long awaited, and we'll see who wins out at the end of this episode. But first up, we go to King of the Hill. So who have we got today? We've got Burnt Waffle Gaming, Cyrex, and Karen Bob. 3 contestants from the upcoming Series 2, and we have the Long Arm of the Law, a robot that entered in Series 1 of Banter Wars belonging to Officer Bobby Plod. The other 3 are YouTubers. You can go check out their channels. Just type their names into the YouTube search bar and you'll come across them. We're still waiting on a Cyrex intro, but never mind, let's get straight into King of the Hill, the first King of the Hill, the first battle of Banter Wars 1.5. So here we go, King of the Hill, 3, 2, 1, and we begin Banter Wars 1.5. It looks like a tentative start from the competitors, but Burnt Waffle Gaming takes the first action here. The aim of the King of the Hill is to stay on top of the yellow mound in the middle for as long as possible, longer than anyone else, and it's already started off rather competitively. Burnt Waffle Gaming's on its side at the moment. Cyrex knocks it back over. Cyrex, a powerful robot, quite fast, quite nippy, and you can see there it's backed into Karina Bob and turned it over. That from just a backwards charge on Karina Bob, but thankfully for Karina Bob, the robot is invertible. It can get both ends up, and you can see in the background there, Long of the Law seems to be struggling a bit. It isn't moving, it's being counted out. Maybe it's stuck on the ramp, I don't know. The other 3 are currently in battle in the middle, trying to find their place on top of the hill. Burnt Waffle Gaming using that weapon on Cyrex. It doesn't seem to cause too much damage, but it is currently on top of the hill. Cyrex comes back in on the action, having pushed Karina Bob out. And this one could go quite either way, but I think at the moment you'd say Cyrex is on top. It's certainly proving to be the most cunning, the most strength in the arena. Burnt Waffle Gaming starting to smoke now a little bit, under pressure from that spike weapon on Cyrex. Now going into Karina Bob, and it's been turned onto its back. Cyrex has been turned over here by Karina Bob. What a turnaround. Cyrex could be out of it here if it can't get back onto its wheels. What will Karina Bob and Burnt Waffle Gaming do here? Are they going to turn it over? Yes, it looks like Cyrex is going to be turned over. Oh, what a disappointment. Cyrex was well on top in this battle, I thought, but it looks dead and buried now, upside down. It has no stream mech. What a shame. It looks like it's between Karina Bob and Burnt Waffle Gaming. You'd say so far that it's been pretty even between the 2, although Karina Bob did turn over Cyrex, and that could count. I think Karina Bob has had more time in the centre of the arena. It's got more pushing ability than Burnt Waffle Gaming, and it's currently pushing Burnt Waffle Gaming out of the hill area and is taking on points as we speak. Karina Bob is on top. Burnt Waffle Gaming has got a lot of work to do here, especially if it gets turned over like that. Thankfully it's invertible, it will work both ways up, but I think that's it now. I don't think there's any way back for Burnt Waffle Gaming. Too many points to Karina Bob, who is just showing what she's made of. A fantastic robot, invertible with that scoop turning weapon at the front. It's done the damage, it's done the job, and it has won this King of the Hill battle, and we'll see it again in the final. Well, the Longer of the Law didn't last long at all. In fact, it didn't even get a sniff of the action. It was out from the very start. It was down to the other 3. Cyrex showed early promise. A couple of charges on Karina Bob and Burnt Waffle Gaming. It showed its strength, showed its power, but it cannot turn itself over, and that proved fatal in this battle. And Karina Bob showed its worth, pushing Burnt Waffle Gaming around, and that is it. It's game over. Karina Bob progresses. So we will be seeing Karina Bob again in the final King of the Hill, which will be on the 7th episode of Banter Wars 1.5. Commiserations to the others. Thank you, Burnt Waffle and Karina Bob, for your intros. We're still waiting on an intro from Cyrex. Hopefully that will come soon. Let's move on to the next competition, which is the Foreigners battle. Those damn foreigners. And of course, we start off in good old Blighty. We have 3 robots from the UK, decorated with their respective national flags. Britain's Worst Gamer and Harius Awesome sporting the wonderful Union Jack, whereas the Savage Scot has taken to decorating itself with the Scottish flag, as one would expect. Perhaps a battle for independence, we shall soon see. We shall also see who is the superior UK robot. Let's get straight into it. So we are getting a change of scenery for a couple of these competitions. This is the parking lot arena, and we begin. The observer bot is in there this time to keep an eye on things and to keep things separate and to keep things fair. The Savage Scott, also known as the Hoitja robot, I believe, is getting in the action on Britain's Worst Gamer. Those two are having a tussle, and Harias Awesome doesn't seem to be moving much in the arena. It's quite a sluggish robot, quite a large robot, but Britain's Worst Gamer was turned over briefly there, but turned itself over with that hammer weapon. It's quite deadly, quite dangerous, and I'd be afraid if I was the Hoitja, the Savage Scott robot, if I was it. The observer bot just keeping things peaceful at the moment, though it shouldn't be doing really. It should be letting them at it, letting the robots go at each other. Harias finally comes into the action here, and look at that, Britain's Worst Gamer was turned over there. It turned itself over more than anything off the back of the observer bot, but it used that hammer weapon again to throw itself back over, and that was a superb display of self-righting. It all seems a bit messy at the moment, if I'm honest. Can't see who is on top exactly. Everyone's got into the action a bit. Maybe Harias Awesome's been a bit out of it, but oh, look at this, the observer bot is over. The observer bot's gone over. What happened there? First you can see Britain's Worst Gamer is over, and look at that, the observer bot got too close to that flipper weapon on the front of Harias Awesome and finds itself on its back. Harias Awesome been pretty quiet throughout this battle, but then it sprung into action. That is a dangerous weapon on the front, and Britain's Worst Gamer is being counted out. It is counted out. It's immobile. It can't right itself. Hoitja suddenly appears to be on top in this battle. Harias Awesome isn't moving, though it has caused major damage, and purely immobilization to the observer bot. It's now being counted out. It looks dead and buried, which is a shame for the observer bot. It hasn't done too well recently, but it's between Hoitja now, the Savage Scots robot, and Harias Awesome, which has now pinned itself on its back. It's stuck on one of its back weapons. The wheels aren't touching the ground, and it's being counted out. Hoitja, the Savage Scot, has won this battle. What a show from the Scottish robot. And what a mess that battle was, to be honest. Harias Awesome didn't get much to a quick start, but Britain's Worst Gamer and Hoitja were coming at each other quite fast. But Britain's Worst Gamer eventually, after being toppled over so many times, had to fall out at one point, and then Harias Awesome put itself on its back and couldn't self-right, and the Hoitja Savage Scots robot goes through to the next round of the Foreigners' Mayhem. What a fantastic battle that was, and a well-deserved victory for the Savage Scot. One of the stranger robots we have in the competition. All those 16 wheels, though, however, produced a useful display against Britain's Worst Gamer and Harias Awesome to move on. Let's move on to the next round. What we got? We've got the Scrap Iron competition. This is the competition where we view robots that were not entered or will not be entered into a series of Banter Wars. This time round we have Series 1 entrants who never made it into the competition, who have never been seen before. We have Nedded the Nissan, the Host, Bribery, and Censored, each one of these belonging to certain characters within the Heap Games channel. Who is the best unused Series 1 robot? Let's go! So here we go, back in the parking lot again. We all know who Nedded the Nissan is, the car frequently seen in Heap Games videos. The Host, the large red robot with the teeth that is attacking Nedded the Nissan, is belonging to the Host from the Octodad series videos of Heap Games, and the other two robots, Censored, belonging to Deborah Balls, the woman who is always censored in interview videos, and Bribery, belonging to the lawyer who was seen in a shout-out video. And currently we see that Nedded the Nissan is taking severe punishment from those axe blades on the Host. Quite a severe looking robot, the Host. It's got 3 large battle axe weapons and 2 lifting spikes, and they seem to be coming into action now, and they are coming into action. The flipping arms have turned both Censored and Nedded the Nissan onto the side, and I think Nedded the Nissan's out. It seems to be immobilised. It is immobilised, and so is Censored. It's broken down. The weapon on Bribery has come into play there quite severely on the side of Censored, and it destroys it completely. So it's down to 2 now already in this fight. The other 2 didn't last very long at all. And now we see the weapons on the Host are starting to be torn off the side of the robot. It's losing bits all over the place. That Bribery weapon is causing severe damage on the front of the Host. And this one could go either way. The Host doing some impressive stuff early on, but the Bribery robot has already taken out Censored. There's not much time left. In fact, we are pretty much out of time. It goes to a judge's decision, and they have a tough one here. The Host did all the damage on Nedded the Nissan and did turn Censored over, but it was Bribery who finished off Censored. They both finished off a robot. And then look at this, Bribery taking off the majority of the weapons of the Host. I think I know which way this one's going to go. An extremely difficult one for the judges there. Netted the Nissan and Sensor, didn't last very long at all, bless them. But the host and bribery both caused damage, both on each other and the other competitors. But with the judges' decision, the win goes to bribery, who will go on into the scrap iron final against an unused Series 2 robot later in Banter Wars 1.5. Congratulations to bribery and the lawyer character from the Abe of Games channel. And finally we have the main battle for this Banter Wars 1.5 episode. We have the grudge match, the long-awaited grudge match between Panzer Inversion and Tetra 10, two game tech mods users. Panzer Inversion's robot is named Audacious Gut Ripper. What a disgraceful sounding name, and one that probably suits it with those two twin weapons on the front. And Tetra 10's robot, Sanity Delta, should really be called Insanity Delta because it's insanely dangerous. Who's going to win? Who is going to be the Game Tech Mods champion of Banter Wars 1.5? So we're back into the main arena for this one with the Observer bot to keep an eye on proceedings, and off we go. It's not looking good. Good start for Sanity Delta, who comes out spinning and flying over onto its back. Audacious Gut Ripper, quite a tongue twister that one. It probably has twisted a few tongues at a time. Comes in underneath Sanity Delta. Something came off there. I didn't quite. It looks like a wheel. Is it a wheel? Yes, it is a wheel. And we all know what happens when the wheel comes off. It looks likely that that robot is not going anywhere. It's quickly becoming a difficult hill to climb for Sanity Delta, even with that dangerous weaponry. The Audacious Gut Ripper looks incredibly dangerous. It's coming in underneath. It keeps getting underneath those wedge shapes on the front. Getting underneath the wheel. Oh, yes, the one wheel of Sanity Delta, and the Sanity Delta is gone. It's immobilized. Too much damage on the underside of that robot from those dangerous spinning blades. On top of Audacious Gut Ripper, now taking on the Observer bot, who unleashes the pit probably bravely, probably wisely, but this is an incredibly dangerous robot, the Audacious Gut Ripper, and it's starting to get the upper hand now, I think, on the Observer bot. It's been pushed into a corner. It's now underneath the Observer bot, causing that damage on the underside, which could be fatal for the Observer bot. It's now back in the corner, pushed up against Sanity Delta, who has been long out of it so far, and the damage is now definitely being caused on that underside. The robot is starting to smoke. It's all over. Audacious Gut Ripper will beat the Observer bot, I'm sure. It's all over. The Observer bot counted out. Audacious Gut Ripper champion here in Banter Wars 1.5 of the Game Tech Mods users. What a robot. What a stunning fight that was, Sanity Delta. Commiserations. What a fight. Couldn't really take on the Audacious Gut Ripper. Couldn't get underneath, and that was the fatal problem there. Even the Observer bot had trouble with the Audacious Gut Ripper. It was torn to shreds. Congratulations, Panzer Inversion. What a robot you've made. And that is the grudge match. The winner, Panzer Inversion's Audacious Gut Ripper. Thank you both for entering your robots. And this concludes the first episode of Banter Wars 1.5, and what a stunning episode it's been. We've got 7 of these episodes, the first 6, and then the one at the end with all the finals. We've got tag teams, we've got weapons battles, we've got everything in Banter Wars 1.5. And don't forget, Series 2 will follow sometime this year. We need your intros. We need about 30 more to start producing that series. So if you haven't got your intros in, please make sure you do. And we will see you next time in another episode of Banter Wars. Before I go, I'd like to give a special thank you to Bad Wolf Gamer for suggesting this idea. This was all down to him, so you should go check him out. Thank you and goodbye.